So hey everybody, we're just like 2 minutes away from 12:30 when this is going to start. So I'm having a couple of people join us. First time I'm doing this with people coming in, so I don't know if I needed to go live for them to join or if they were able to join before I went live. So I'm waiting on my wife's going to join us. She's actually in the other room, but she has her own setup, her own camera. So I'm going to bring her in, so that way we both have our own little box to talk in. So and that'll be great. And she's a big Van Halen. I mean, talking about she likes Van Halen several levels higher than I do. I love Van Halen, but she's like a freak for Van Halen. So since we're going to be talking about Van Halen on this, I went ahead and invited her. So there's Beat. So I want to bring him in onto this. Hey, Beat, how you doing?
Good. How are you? Good
I'm doing pretty
afternoon.
good. I'm doing good. Yeah, we're starting.
I'm on another format. Hold on a minute.
Okay. No,
Let's see.
I don't like this background. Let me see if I can change this background real fast. Anything but that. Maybe that. Let's try that. I didn't realize it was a black background. You know what? The black background might be actually good for this because I'm dealing with a lot of glare on this side. Let me change it back to black. There we go. I'm gonna put that back to black so that way I have less glare on this end. So
Beautiful.
there you go.
All right.
So waiting on my wife to join the stream here. So, but yeah, this is going to be talking about a 45 that I bought about 10 years ago, and get some people's input on it because I've always wondered about this 45. I can't find a whole lot of information about it online. So, I guess my wife's going to join here in a minute, I guess. So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and wait for her to join on. So how's your day going so far, Beat?
Good. Good. I did a nice shave. I just got a shower. We
Yeah,
are
me
here.
too. Me too.
Yeah, you look. Yeah, well, you look good with a beard. I don't. I never liked beard.
Uh,
Yeah, I was hustling this morning to be here. I was hustling. I got that nice shave in. Took a nice hot shower. Here we are.
awesome.
You know,
So,
I keep my appointments.
oh yeah, me too. Me too. So, did you just join, or did you try to join earlier? Because I had this
Nope.
up. I wasn't sure if I needed to be live for y'all to join or not.
No. No. I just got here.
Okay, yeah, awesome, awesome,
I
awesome.
just sat down. I contacted
Adrian,
uh, no Thomas Merriman.
okay.
I contacted Thomas Merriman. I told him that you'll be live today, and he said he'll try his Harvard best.
All right. So, and there's my wife, and this is Mrs.
Hello.
Bozz.
Hey guys, how are y'all?
Good. Good.
Okay,
Hey.
so and we have Adrian in the chat who sits
Awesome.
in on a lot of my live videos on Thursday night as well as on Beats live videos as well. So yeah, this is of course, this is for all of us, but one of the big reasons for this is to talk about, and I'll show it up front here as we know we were talking about. So I bought this 45 from eBay about 10 years ago, and got it for $25. And the guy said it had alternate versions of Running with the Devil and Paranoid, Van Halen, and Black Sabbath. Now, I'm a 45 RPM collector, and anything that's different or odd, I'm definitely into, especially dealing with this kind of music, this rock music from the late 70s, and early to mid 80s. I'm half my collection is late 70s to mid 80s. So it's definitely the music I'm into. So when someone had this for sale, I'm gonna kind of show you the record here. What I want to do, I don't know if I can do this. Let me see if I can. Just real fast. I'll bring y'all back in a second, but I just want people to get a good view of this. So that's the 45 I'm talking about. It's definitely a bootleg of some kind because it has a bogus serial number on it, and it doesn't quite look like a Warner Brothers record would look like usually. It's a little different. So it has Paranoid on this side, and it has Running with the Devil on this side. Van Halen, and Black Sabbath. So I'm going to bring everybody back in now. Sorry about that, guys. So, yeah, so I got this record back in about 10 years ago, and it's really interesting. This is what the actual Black Paranoid looks like, the real one. It looks a little different. It has a different serial number on it, catalog number on it. It's not the same catalog number. So that's what the real one looks like. And this is a promo. The commercial one has this color label, this green color Warner label on it, this same color Warner Brother label that I'm sure all of us are familiar with if we grew up around that time. And I do have Running with the Devil as well. Now this one came out on what they call the Burbank label. But that's what this one looks like, and that's what the real Running with the Devil looks like as well. A catalog number has a WBS in front of it. So that's what the real 45s look like.
Is the font a little different? The font is a little odd on that one.
Let me see. The font is definitely different. Yeah, it's definitely a different font on the 45 as well.
Yeah.
Now, go ahead. I'm sorry, Beat.
Oh, I pulled up the original Picture Sleeve 45 of Running with the Devil. Right here, Van Halen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Awesome.
Now, I got this one from a friend of mine on eBay, and that's how he got it, but it's obviously a photocopy. Someone photocopied it and made this picture sleeve.
Okay.
But I'll take it though, right? So,
and when this was being done, we didn't have digital like we do today. So I wonder, this has always been a curiosity for us, is just what and where and why.
Well, the first time I've done a lot of research online, and there's actually a website out there who talks about, hey, listen to this recording of David Lee Roth vocals from Running with the Devil, which is what the side A is of this 45. And that website was in 2008. So I don't know if that's when it was first made available. It was in 2008. Discogs says this record was made in 78, but you can't always rely on Discogs, because Discogs is user created info, and if we're wrong, then we put the wrong data out there. So they try to police it as much as they can, but there's only so much they can do. So go ahead, Pete.
Oh, it says Running with the Devil was released May 6, 1978. The lyrics were inspired by the Ohio Players' 1974 song Running with the Devil.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now
the question though is this particular weird little promo? It's it's such an oddity. Have you heard this one yet, Beat?
Yes, I did. Your husband sent me the link yesterday.
So cool.
And vocals only.
Yeah, it's so wild.
And we're all talking about this, but a lot of people watching this video may not have heard it. So I'm going to go ahead and do real fast, if you all don't mind. I'm going to go ahead and play this.
Yeah, definitely.
So everybody home knows
please.
what we're talking about here.
It's weird.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I live my life like there's no tomorrow, and all I've got I had to steal. Least I don't need to beg or borrow. Yes, I'm living at a pace that kills. Ooh, yeah. Woo-hoo! I'll tell you all about it. I found the simple life ain't so simple. When I jumped out on that road, I got no love you'd call real. Ain't got nobody waiting at home. Goddamn hear me, baby? No, I ain't lying to you. I'm only gonna tell you one time. Ah, yeah. Yes, I am. Yeah. Ah, woo. Woo. You know, I found the simple life once so simple. No, when I jumped out on that road, got no love you'd call real. Got nobody waiting at home. Ah, oh God, I'm running. Ah, yeah. Run on one more time. Whoa! Whoa! Ooh!
All right, so that's going to be it. So, Adrian, Adrian put a message in the stream here. So now, Adrian, pretty much what first of all, I believe I'm really good at picking up inflections of voices and songs to find out if it was an original or a re-recording or a different take. And to me, that sounds like the take that is on the original song. Now, usually, the way it works is they're in a recording booth and they have headphones on, and they're hearing the music and they're singing through, but it's just recording their voice. So later they can mix it in a mixer. And Beats has been another reason why I want to Beat here, because has actually recorded professional music before, so he can also elaborate on this procedure. But I think this is actually the take that was done in the recording booth that was mixed in with the original song. Now, towards the end of the song, about the last minute or minute and a half, you can kind of hear a tiny bit of music that was probably leaking through the headphones that was being picked up by the mic. But again, so he definitely had music, Adrian. He definitely was listening to the music through headphones and then singing it in this booth.
So, Beat, let me ask you a question. So, in that situation, they're putting down the tracks separately because it makes the sound better, the quality better, right?
So what happens in the studio is each member of the band goes in the studio on their own and does the guitar work, and then they leave the studio, and then the singer comes in and then he does his thing and he listens to the guitar work in one earphone and just one earphone, and then the drummer will come in one day and he'll do his studio lay down, and then they'll just take turns, and then once the band has completed their sounds, then the mixer and the sound engineer will come in and blend it all together into a song. Okay.
All right. That's really cool.
And studio time, if you're a local band and you're a musician and you're working a factory 10 hours a day, and then you're going into the studio after that, and studio time money is very expensive.
I can imagine.
It was costing me probably $120 an hour.
Wow. And nowadays, there's several of the newer people nowadays where they can do it in their bedrooms on
it's
different
so
software now, and it's just done. It's crazy.
it is that easy. You can record your own song at home now. I mean, technology has jumped from '78 till now. It's so easy to create a song at home, and but I went through the hard times of being a musician. The you know
Right.
the rolling around of the Marshall amps and moving everything around, loading up the truck, and I did all that, and, in snowstorms.
Wow.
Just getting out of the bar, getting out of the bars at 2:30 in the morning. It's a blizzard outside, and you got to be at work at 7 o'clock the next day. I
Wow.
mean,
So were you in a band or were you studio? What did you do?
I worked with 5 bands in
Oh, wow.
Detroit,
Oh,
and
wonderful.
I started right out of high school. Right out of high school, I had plans to go to art school and be an illustrator, and so right after high school, I actually blew away my chance to be an illustrator, to have a career as as an artist, and I chose the guitar. I chose playing the bars. Everyone makes choices in life.
Absolutely.
I left the $5,000 art scholarship I had to go to art school, and I persuaded to go to playing the bars, because I started playing guitar when I was 6 years old. And I used to take my older brother and sisters, their albums up in the attic with, and I had a turntable, I had a stereo up in the attic. They were like, "Jerry, where's all our albums?" They're up in the attic. I'm learning how to play. I'm learning how to play Jimi Hendrix right now. You mind?
Cool.
So I took all their. I took my sisters. Their Led Zeppelin, the Moody Blues, Uriah Heep, Mata Hoopo. I took all their music, the Moody Blues. I took Deep Purple. I took all their albums upstairs, and I got my first Fender red guitar and a little Marshall amp as a gift from a family member when I was 6 years old. And so eventually, after listening to my brother and sister's albums, I started being a fan of Jimi Hendrix. So I started listening to him quite a bit. I was even dressing up like him when I was a little kid. I had the bandana and everything. I'm just a little kid with a guitar. But then I just started playing, and I can play by ear.
Wow.
Quite well. I can pick up tones really well, and
there's a lot of people that can't read music, but they are amazing at playing, because it's all by ear.
So all you need is 3 chords to come up with a hit. All you need is 3 chords on the guitar to come up with a hit.
Wow.
And
awesome.
That is
just amazing. Just
Yep,
amazing.
cool.
It's amazing what's happening nowadays, how they can, there's these different beats that, people lay down, and then they are able to use those and put them into other sounds or other songs. And it's all just digital right there on your computer in your bedroom. Done.
Now I still have all my masters, and on 8-track and CD and everything. I still have all my masters from the studio, and from the 5 bands I worked with.
Wow.
And,
Now, are those carts or are those actually 8-tracks?
I got reel to reel.
Wow.
Okay. Because I know in the radio industry they call them they call these things that look like 8-tracks carts. So I don't know if you call them carts or.
I got songs on mini disc.
Wow.
Masters.
Now, did you have any of it put on vinyl?
It's very expensive to put it on vinyl.
Yeah, it is. That's why I was wondering if you were able to or not.
No, actually, and then we started getting really popular, and then we were on the radio here in Detroit, and then we were heard as far away as Texas.
Wow.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah.
so back then, and we were in magazines, articles about us in magazines overseas, in England. We were in a rock magazine called Metal Fury, and there was articles about us in England, my band and such. We were climbing the charts, and I was always every Friday or Saturday night. You knew I was up playing, because my name would be up in the lights. Every
But that
Friday.
felt great.
Every Friday or Saturday, you knew I was up there playing, and yeah, we had our chance with Atlantic Records, and we had a meeting with Atlantic Records. They wanted to give us a generous amount of money, 3-album deal,
Wow.
50-state tour. They wanted to give us the whole
Spiel.
package, but we ran into a problem with Atlantic Records, and my lead singer anyway, he sounded just like Robert Plant. So he thought he was king of the world. I sound like Robert Plant. I sound like Led Zeppelin. So I had a very arrogant lead singer, and so he looked at the contract and everything that he thought he was better than what Atlantic Records would offer us. And he walked out the door.
Oh, wow.
We could have had 3 albums. We had a contract for 3 upcoming albums and everything. And he ripped up the contract, and he walked out the door. And then the executives at Atlantic Records told us to get the hell out of their office and never come back. And so we all came back home from that meeting, and we decided to all quit and just work, just live our everyday lives, just work and take care of our kids and such.
But you did it. But you so many people do not chase that dream and at least see, could it have happened? So you have so many people with regrets, but you did it. You actually tried, and that's got to feel good.
We practiced 3 nights a week in my drummer's basement. We practiced, and then we played out 2 nights a week.
Yeah.
For a long time, for years. But
do you still play?
Actually, I don't play guitar anymore.
Oh wow.
There's so many things, so many changes that have occurred since then, since the band. It's a tough, it's really difficult to be a musician and work a factory job. We get off of work and go downstairs into the basement and do our practice and have a good time and such, and then we'd load up our truck and then get ready for the show Friday and Saturday. But back then our roadies used to surprise us and have a limousine pick us up at our houses, so we'd arrive at the bar in a limousine. So that was
fun.
That was our roadies deal.
Awesome.
Drinks and everything in the limousine.
Fun.
Too
fun.
But just amazing. I mean, we did covers from Van Halen. I think we did Jamie's Crying and
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But those were the days where you
bet.
worked your butt up, blood, sweat, and beers back then.
Well, when we were young, we could do it.
We could do it back then.
You
So,
know? That's it.
but I have shared some of my songs on my one of my shows a few weeks ago.
Cool. Too cool.
So,
Well,
so,
let's
so,
get back to the. What do you want to get back to the
Alright.
vinyl, Marsh? All
Enough.
right,
yeah,
let's
yeah,
do
yeah.
that.
So,
This was a great thing, Beat. This was awesome. I loved hearing your story.
all right. So anyway, so yeah, so I don't think this is a one-off again. First of all, it looks like it's pressed on vinyl. They rarely will press one record on vinyl. It has writing in the runouts that you would typically have in a plating. One-offs pretty much won't have any little sketches like that in the runout. I saw at least one other one like this that got sold on Discogs a couple years ago. So at least there's two copies, if not more, out there. So I don't think it's a one-off. So, but why someone would press this onto a record, it's still a little bit beyond me a little bit. Now the B side is interesting too because they backed it with the song "Paranoid" of Black Sabbath, but this is an alternate lyric version of the song. It has been on YouTube for a while, so if you ever looked up Black Sabbath's "Paranoid" alternate lyrics, it's out there. But they also pressed it onto this 45. So, and so some people out there might want to hear this version here. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that up as well and play that. Let me bring that into the fold here. And there we go. And I'm going to go ahead and bring it into the stream.
Cool.
And play this. The AC guy's at the door.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
All right, guys. That was pretty awesome, right? Different. Totally and utterly different.
It's definitely
Tell ya.
It's definitely a rough cut sounding.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Probably
So-
done on a 4-track.
I think so. He's coming back in here now. There you go. And I need to go take care of the dog. He's having a nervous breakdown. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay, so sorry about that, guys. Yeah, so it's It's pretty cool how they let me back up a little bit here. How So what do you think? Um, a beat. Why someone would press this 45? Now, it's definitely for notoriety. But most bootlegs that I have, I mean, I have lots of bootlegs in my collection, but most are like live recordings. But someone went out of their way to press this 45 with this vocal version of David Lee Roth on the A side and this alternate version of Black Sabbath on the B side. And I've always been fascinated by this record.
Well, it had to have been a promotional 45. It had to have been played in radio stations. Somebody definitely had the masters. Um, they actually had the masters up in the studio, and they took those masters and they put it on vinyl. Definitely put it on vinyl. They just probably
Yeah.
threw it on there because it's not a very good quality sound. This probably was done on a 4-track, and it was used as a promotional. But somebody had access. They had an agenda with that 45 back then.
And the catalog number is a bogus catalog number on this. I mean, they tried to make it look like something legitimate. They put the Warner Brothers logo on here, but the catalog number is not a valid catalog number. So it's just pretty pretty interesting.
But
How
you'll
it
get
was.
those. But
Huh?
yeah, but you'll get 45s like that. I mean, throughout the decades. I mean, even Motley Crue, they came out with a rare song called "Stick to Your Guns," and on the B side of "Stick to Your Guns" was "Toast of the Town," and that was only pressed. There was only 500 pressings of that "Stick to Your Guns" Motley Crue, and that was played in the radio. I mean, you'll find 45s like that with all kinds of bands. I mean, it's not
Right, but why did they decide to do this to make it look like a real 45, but put this catalog number 7563 that's not an actual catalog number or doesn't go to this record? If you look up Warner Brothers catalog, the 7563 goes. I think it goes to a different song, a real Warner Brothers 45. So they went out of their way, to make this. It definitely was not pressed by Warner Brothers, I don't believe. So I don't know. So I don't know who pressed this or why.
Now, was
Can I
that
ask a
from the
question?
US? I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Remember a few years ago you had something pressed on for Here Come the Mummies. It's a jazz band. Here Come the Mummies. It's awesome.
Right,
Anyway,
and that was a one-off.
exactly, that was a one-off that you pressed with this company that presses vinyl. Cost $100.
Right, they
But
use blanks. They use blanks, and they have
I'm wondering if maybe that was some early thing, but because I don't even know, that wouldn't have been available
I don't
back
think
15,
I don't
20
think
years
this is a
ago.
one-off like that because
Okay.
again, they have usually those don't have any writing in the runouts.
Okay.
Usually that's in plates. So it has a writing in the runout here. Actually, it's 107657, which I don't even know what that number is or why it's there. That's on the Van Halen side, and they have 109656. So basically, the Black that's probably matrix numbers, which there's even a matrix number on the label here that doesn't match the runout. So you have two different matrix numbers. But usually, the lower matrix number is indicative. I would say 90% of the time, the lower matrix number is indicative of the A side. So what they're trying to say is that the Black Sabbath was the A side and the Van Halen was the B side with these two matrix numbers. But it looks like it's pressed on it's vinyl pressed, not with a plate. But I just always this has been sitting in my collection for 10 years, and sometimes I post it on a Facebook group, and everybody go, "Whoa, it's that!" And I always wanted to do a video of this, but never found the right format or the right way. I figured I'd bring some people on to talk about it.
If anyone's watching this in the future, please leave a comment in the video if you know anything about this. If you've got any ideas, any conspiracy theories, or any knowledge, we would love to hear it.
So, yeah. So, any other ideas for you there, Beat, on this what I call exotic 45?
Exotic 45. Well, Paranoid was released January 7th, 1971 by Warner Brothers Records.
Mhm.
So
and on that olive green label that they used to have back then on
I
the
was, I
for
was
the
only 4 years old.
right. I gotcha.
I didn't
So,
pick
well,
up the
I've
card.
seen pictures of it. All I have is the promo, which is on a white, but the commercial was on this olive green label.
So that
So,
45 has got that 45 it has a story behind it.
I'm sure it does.
It's got a
You know, and
history.
if I remember right, if I bring it up here, don't do that. Okay,
And
don't do
that's
that.
what makes it worth more money, a lot more money, because it has a story behind it.
Right. I saw one sell on Discog. Now I bought this one for $25, but I saw one sell on Discogs for about $100 a few years ago. Let me see if I can bring up
One of the
the.
reasons why I don't play guitar anymore is because I have neuropathy in my fingers, my
Ah,
fingertips, and I can't
Okay.
feel. I can't feel. You know, I'm always dropping my coffee cup, or I'm always dropping my pen or pencil. I have neuropathy. I'm type 2 diabetic, and I got neuropathy in my feet as
wow.
well. So I can't feel my
Yeah.
feet. You know, it's kind of hard to play guitar when you can't feel the frets. And
Definitely.
there's been a lot of challenges in my life, and I'm just down to a music channel. I'm just
Mhm.
down to that. I just turned 57, and the
Oh.
bar scene's been over for decades now, and none of the bars are open that I used to play in. They're all down.
Yeah. This is a great way to interact with other people that are like-minded.
Yes, yeah, and it's working out for my show as well.
Mhm.
I've always dreamed of having musicians and local artists and be on my panel.
There's so many garage bands that never made it. There's so many that had one album and never
Oh
went
yeah,
any farther. There's just so many. Back, I think it was in March or something like that. You did a video that Bozz, you did a video that was talking about this obscure garage band that you had found in a dollar bin, right? And
Right.
it looked like something, because he's pretty good about looking at the cover and looking at the artwork and being able to tell, hey, this looks like something I would enjoy. So he'll pick it up and bring it home and play it. And it's always sounds amazing. It's always like a really good rock band that I don't know how he does it, but he's able to pick them like that. Well, this one, he posted it, and one of the band members commented and said, "Oh my God, I hadn't seen this forever. Thank you for posting this."
It's actually
Or
a
was it
relative.
a
It's a
relative?
relative of the
Okay.
band members. Yeah, because the lead singer had passed away. So
There you go.
this was a relative of the lead singer. The album was uh, Meet the Rabbit it came out around 86 or 87. And when you go to Discogs and you bring up Meet the Rabbit, there's nothing. It just says Meet the Rabbit and there's nothing there, and it has and they released just as one album. So we know nothing about it. So at least the band member commented that they were up in in the New England area. So I didn't even know that much. So it was cool to find that much about the band, about they're from Cape Cod.
But
So
we've often talked about that. We're like, man, there's so many like you that took their shot. They made their pitch and they didn't quite become, Jimi Hendrix, but they still have a body of work out there.
but
And they still did something. Those people, they don't have a voice. We've talked about that. It's not our channel. It's not, his channel, but somebody like you that's got that history, there's a lot of bands out there that I'm sure that you could talk with and that they could tell their story. It'd be probably really good.
Well, that was the ultimate dream of having Beat After Beat. Beat After Beat. It was to bring support local artists and musicians around the world and bring them on the panel. I am really honored to have your husband on my shows because he's a music channel, and he's a real music channel. And
Well, that guy, man, he has got the ear. I don't know anyone else I've ever met. I mean, I've known him now for 25 years, but he has an ear. He can listen and tell, well, this one is a little different of a version than this one. And he'll have 10 45s of the same song. And every one of them is a little different version. It's just amazing how he can tell the difference of the sound.
I mean,
I don't.
I'm sorry that.
No, go for it.
You know, the bar scene. I was always playing, the bars. And we saw, we opened up for big acts. That came through. We opened up for Dockin, Boston, all these big name bands coming through. Got to meet all these bands. The Black Crows, they came through.
Wow.
I met them. All these.
Too hot to handle now.
Yeah.
Also, all these national bands, coming through the city, and we'd be opening up for them, and we'd be in the backstage having drinks with these guys. But the most I ever played in front of was 1,700 people, and it was Battle of the Bands, and there was 6 local Detroit bands playing, and everybody was filming. Everybody, radio stations, TV, everybody was ready to film us, and but Battle of the Bands, there was like 1,800 people that night, and that was the most I ever played in front of.
Cool.
That is so neat.
But being on that stage, I mean, you're up there in the lights and you're looking down at the crowd. I mean, you feel like a god up there or something.
Wow.
And you got the fog machine going and everything. It's just
it's a show. It's a show. It's, you've got that creativity side, whether it's in your artwork, like you were talking about art school, or whether we have to create, we have to express that creation somehow, whatever it is, whether it's video, whether it's writing, whether it's art, whether it's music. Creative people create.
Yeah, I played in dumps too. I played in dumps, like could make the bar probably could hold 100 people, and that would be it. So I played dumps, and then I played in the main bar here in Detroit used to be Harpo's Concert Theater. Here in Detroit, you can look up Harpo's Concert Theater, and I've always been up there on stage playing there. And that's where I played in front of 1,700 people.
Finley just put a note in the chat. Did you guys see that pop up on the screen? Talking about local radio, and how it's something that's been replaced now with like Sirius XM or with Spotify or with any other numerous online things. But I would say, I think that it's going to be coming back around a little bit more. The way YouTube is working, we were talking about this the other night. YouTube is almost becoming not just like the new Hollywood, but it's also becoming the podcast, which is radio, radio shows. If you want to think back of the way old school radio shows were in the 20s, 30s, 40s, it was just a voice and it was a conversation. Now it's a video podcast or an audio podcast, but it's the same idea. And they're starting to make it where you can use people's music, and then YouTube pays the artist and you can license it that way to have it in your video. I think that's going to become bigger as the podcast things and different stuff. Can you imagine like having a Dr. Demento show on YouTube? Instead of it being on the radio like it used to be, it could be on YouTube. And I think we need to get to that point where they can figure out the licensing so that can actually happen. It's just an idea.
Right. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yep. So
Go ahead.
it's okay. That's okay. So I was showing this earlier, and I'm gonna bring it back up so we can see it. But I'm gonna show this. So this is uh, from Discogs page talking about this record.
Can you
So
make it bigger?
I can try. I don't know
If you
how well
can't, that's okay. There you go. That's yeah, much better.
Okay, great. So we have one person who owns it, which is that's not mine because I did not sell this for 128.20. I still have it. I bought mine back in again about 10 years ago for $25. So there's definitely a second one floating out. We have 48 people that want it.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah,
interesting here.
it's a weird piece of vinyl, that's for darn sure.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I think
Hmm.
though that I'm the original one who put this up on Discogs.
Okay.
So I think that photo you see on the left is the photo of this actual 45. So yeah, but anyways, it's I want to bring that out that Discogs does show this, and it does show someone bought this. So there's definitely at least one other copy out there floating around somewhere. So anyway,
Yeah, and you know, with David Lee Roth doing that, I wonder about the licensing on that. You know, I doubt you will get a copyright violation because of his lyrics being sung, I should say.
I would, but as a matter of fact,
Really?
whenever I do anything like this, when I'm playing 45 on a live, I will record it and upload it to YouTube to have their content ID, scrutinize it, and it'll tell me you can't use it, you can use it, you can't monetize, et cetera, et cetera. So I uploaded those songs. It had no problem with the Running with the Devil. It didn't even scrape their
Really?
content. But the other side, the Black Sabbath, it said that
Yeah, that sounds too much alike.
it matched the content ID, but I can use it. I just can't monetize this video. And Black Sabbath
Cool.
or Warner Brothers or whatever owns the rights will have
Who cares?
the right to monetize it, which
Who
is
cares?
fine for me.
Yeah, we don't care about that
as
mess
long as I
anyway.
can play, as long as I
right.
can play it on the channel and people can hear it, so that's the
Right.
main thing.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Yeah, see, I wish we were in a world where, you know, we could put out every single version of these songs and just talk about them. But unfortunately, we're not in that world. So we have to kind of be careful about what you do or else it'll mess up the channel.
right, but it's also very cool that and Bruce wants to get his Bruce is our
I just
dog,
put him
by the
down.
way.
Just put him
So-
down and he decided to have a fit.
And Finley here commented about how he was a member of the Dr. Demento Society. I never was, but I always listen to Dr. Demento. I have some of Dr. Demento records. I'm a big novelty freak. So, what's really cool about the way that YouTube does it, it's a double-sided sword, really, because. Okay, so back in the day when Dr. Demento wanted to have his records in his show, he had to get lawyers involved and find out, okay, this record is this gets royalties, and this company gets royalties, and they get royalties, and they had to figure all this out. Today, YouTube does that for us. You know, if it's a song that they say is allowed, but the owner has the right to make money from it, and then YouTube handles that all on the back end. I don't have to do anything for that. So that's at least one thing nice about YouTube. But on the backside of it, first of all, they can flip that, and tomorrow, even though they said today I can use it, but tomorrow they can say no, I can't. So then I have a problem with my video. And also is that they can say that the video, I put up a live video of me and my wife went to a concert about 7 years ago. It was Eagles Live.
Yeah.
And I recorded several of the songs on my cell phone, and two of the songs I put up on my channel. And for 6 months they're up there, no problems whatsoever. And the content ID said, the same thing, copyrighted, but you can use, right? And then one day it turned around and said, nope, nobody can see this worldwide. It is blocked. I didn't get a violation, a copyright violation, but they blocked the video worldwide. So it was up for 6 months, and all of a sudden I couldn't use it anymore.
And that one aggravated the hell out of me, excuse me, but because you were filming me rocking out at my my bucket list concert, that we finally got to go to, and then they decided to be jerks about it.
Yep.
It wasn't like it was great sound or anything. It was just a great time at a concert. It's weird.
See, I don't have to worry about copyright when I'm playing my own music. So, and I've already played my music to you guys on one of my shows, and I can play my music all day long. Going live, and there's I don't have there is no copyright strikes on my music. It's local, local music.
That's nice. And like, there's a lot of music that he'll put up knowing that it's going to not be able to, but it's okay. It's not a big deal. We're not doing it for that. We're doing it, to get this weird, like, obscure music out there, even though it's not going to be able to be monetized. It's not about money. It's not about that mess. It's about
sharing
it with the community.
Wow, I wish I could share one of my songs with you guys. I mean, I got it downloaded on the computer, but maybe one
we'll
day
have to do that.
I can show off some of my.
So
music.
Finley just wrote something about a license from Nokia Bell Labs to remove the copyright. We'll have to look into what that's about, Finley. I'm not familiar.
All right, so he's saying that he got a license. He said YouTube marked one of his videos because it was now YouTube uses what's called Content ID, and it looked like what Finley was saying is that one of his videos got marked for Content ID, and then so he had to actually reach out to the people that own it, and he actually got the rights. And so you would have to, I guess Finley had to submit that to YouTube to prove that he had the
so what he's saying is it was Beat, this might apply to you. He was saying that it was his music and somebody else sampled.
I don't know if he used it or not.
That's what I'm reading. It says YouTube marked one of mine because another band used a sample from the record I uploaded. So you could have that happen too, Beat, where you upload your music and somebody might sample a beat off of yours, and then that would maybe cause you to end up with an issue in the future. So maybe that's what he's talking about.
Okay, that makes totally sense.
Yep.
And, just got to keep my music hidden.
No. That's not the takeaway. That's not the takeaway. The takeaway is not to keep it hidden. You have to be out there. It's just be aware that does happen.
Wow,
I think the more exposure you get, see, this is my opinion of YouTube and all this. The more exposure you get, the more you talk, the more you're seen, the more you're heard, the better chances that more people will find you. Where if you keep yourself in a shell and you keep hidden, then no one's going to ever find you. No one's ever going to listen to you.
I had 145 I put up that it was what's called a break-in record, and break-in records were back in the 50s. The first one came out, and it went to. But a break-in record is they take snippets of popular songs and they use it
like Benny Goodman kind of stuff.
Dickie Goodman.
Goodman, thank you.
Right, but they determined. I think it went all the way to the Supreme Court. I believe they said that they created enough of an original recording using just the snippets that it does not violate copyright law. So they allowed these little 1 second, 2 second snippets of these songs in these breakout records, or break-in records, excuse me. But I played a break-in record recently on a show, and they flagged it because one of the snippets was copyrighted, even though the break-in record itself wasn't copyrighted. So YouTube doesn't really know. All they know is that their Content IDs just scan music. Even though the Supreme Court ruled that the record is allowed.
Well, YouTube doesn't care about any of the copyright. They're going to err on the side of caution. If you have a copyright claim, you've got to take those people to court. YouTube's not going to get involved at all. They're gonna stay on the sidelines and say that's between you. Right.
So so I do the same thing that Finley does here. I try to get more obscure songs to share. There's a lot of novelty songs on my channel that are more obscure that I don't think would hit copyright, but sometimes they do. But that's fine. Usually they tell me that that I can't monetize it. I did put up one song. It was called "Rock Me, Jerry Lewis,"
I love
and
that song.
I had it up. I had it up on my channel for 2 whole years. And actually, the content ID, they didn't even kick in. It just said just no copyright problems whatsoever. But the guy that that there was two guys that did that song, Rock Me, Jerry Lewis, that were DJs. One of the
Mhm.
guys created his own YouTube channel and was sharing material from the radio shows, and he found my record being put up, and he actually sent me an
Oh,
email, and he was nice. He said, "I'm putting this on my channel. I want it only on my channel, so could you please take this down?" And I was more than gracious. I said, "Definitely." So I took it down that day.
mhm.
It's definitely his work. I wasn't trying to step on anybody's foot, but I wanted to share this awesome song as well.
Right.
So, as long as
Yeah,
they,
no, there's so much that's just dying out there in a box that's never to be heard from again. That's a great thing about YouTube is it allows us to surface some of this stuff.
that's true. So, but I took it down, and but that's fine.
Mhm.
So,
Exactly.
I understand, but I think I've only had I had one other record, which was a an interview with Billy Joel. It was I have several interview records that I put on my channel, and this is
Mhm.
one of these records. And I left in all the Billy Joel songs on this record, and I put it up, and then she said, "Okay, these songs are copyrighted, but they are allowed. You just can't monetize. Great." So it's up for a week, and then
Mhm.
all of a sudden, they came back and just said, "Nope, it's
Mhm.
blocked worldwide." So my guess
Wow.
is that somebody somewhere didn't like the
Found
interview.
it.
Either Billy Joel didn't like the interview,
Yeah.
or whatever label that controls
Their
Billy Joel's
attorneys.
music didn't like so they
Yeah.
contacted YouTube and go, "We don't want this at all. We don't care,
Right.
to monetize it. We just don't want it on YouTube." So I didn't get a strike, but they did take that. They did make it where it just said, blocked worldwide. So at that point, I just took it down. I re-recorded it and I stripped out all the music.
Mhm.
They can't.
It was just
I
the
don't.
audio. It was just the
So it
verbal
was just
interview.
his interview, which is probably copyrighted by Watermark, which is the company that did the interview itself.
Mm.
I don't think Watermark is even around anymore. I don't know who holds the
Somebody owns it.
copyright for Watermark. So who knows, right? But uh, that's been on my channel now for 3 years and it hasn't been a problem.
Right.
So more and more, I'm finding that these interview discs that I get, I'm working on one right now by LRB. But I try to tend to err more on the side of caution now. I'll just go ahead and just strip out all the music before I even put it up.
Right.
So
Now, why? Let me ask a question. Why do you think that more people aren't with YouTube, especially? Why are people not creating those break in or break whatever you called it, breakout Dickie Goodman type records with today's music? Where it tells a story with little snippets of this song, this song, this song. Why are the younger people not doing that, or older people, or anybody doing it really these days? I haven't seen a YouTube channel doing that. Is it because of copyright, do you think, or is it because it's
yeah,
just out of favor? And
yeah. I
the
mean,
younger generation hasn't discovered that idea yet.
yeah.
Rediscovered it, I should say.
The millennials and the Gen Zs are more interested in streaming than anything else, and
Yeah, but it's
having
streaming. I'm talking about doing it on YouTube.
right. But you have to have the physical media in order to do it on YouTube. So most of them don't have the physical media.
They have the MP3s.
Maybe not. A lot of Gen Zs might not even know what MP3
They're
is.
just streaming it,
these
is what you're
days. They're
saying.
just
I
streaming, it's all
gotcha.
they care
Okay.
about. Yeah.
I'm
So
with you.
so Finley put a thing up here. He said that he put up one recently, and it was up for a week and got blocked worldwide by Universal Music Group. It's the same thing. So
Mm, okay.
somebody somewhere didn't like what Finley put up, even though the content ID said one thing, but the Universal Music Group has the ultimate say, so they can come back and say no.
And nowadays we've got AI also to contend with. So
Right.
everything is AI looking over our shoulders. So if there's something there that even though it's obscure, it's in a box under the counter, no one has heard the song or the record in 50 years.
Yep.
AI now has it in a database, which is now on YouTube. So it's going to get flagged. So there's going to be a lot more music that's going to just not get revived.
Yeah. I put up some albums on my channel that are 2 or 3 of them that are like Meet the Rabbit, very extremely obscure. They put it out on their own label. I put another one out recently that was on their own label, so I feel comfortable with that. They can always come back and say no, but Content ID
Of course.
would have a hard time, recognizing it, if it's produced on their own label. So,
I just, and then it's not like you said, it's not about trying to get over on anything. It's just about, to me, it's about reviving music that is not going to be heard unless you have that physical 45. You know what I mean? Unless you've got that 45 in your collection, you're never going to hear that.
True.
It's sad.
True. So Finley's asking a question here.
Sure.
Just my opinion, but most music has multiple writers these days. So who would tell the story? So Finley, I don't quite. Are you talking about the story of the song itself? Or are you talking about the history of how the song came about?
Talking about what we were talking about earlier, Beat, about getting the musicians together maybe and telling their story of the old garage bands. Is that what you're talking about, or something else? Anyway, he'll tell us in a minute, I'm sure.
Yeah, in a minute. So yeah, but usually what happens is that you have a like here on this record right here. So it says ASCAP, which is a publishing company. You also have BMI, the 2 main ones in America. You have different ones in different countries. But that's who owns the copyright of the written material, of the lyrics. And then you have the phonographic copyright, which is all the music and the singing. And that's a phonographic copyright, which is usually a separate copyright owned by the label, like Warner Brothers. So you have 2 different. So for this 145, there's at least 2 different copyrights here. You have the copyright from the lyrics. You have the copyright from this one recording happened at 3:00 in the afternoon on August 2nd, 1979. That recording is copyrighted by Warner Brothers. So you have 2 different copyrights going on this. If not more. So
I'm sure
there's definitely a lot involved in these.
Absolutely. Hey, Beat, anything else that you've got?
I got lots of stories, but limited time. I mean, back then when I was out there playing.
Hey, Thomas, how you doing today?
Thomas, good to see you. Back then, back then, 88, 89, 90. Back then, it was a war between us bands. I mean, we'd stick our flyers all over cars and posts and everything. And then another band would come down and rip our flyers down and put theirs up there. And it was a constant war. I mean, 5 minutes later, your flyer's off the pole and someone else's is up there. I mean, it was a constant war. I feel like a dinosaur talking about this stuff because technology has really taken over for musicians. Yeah. But back then, there's just the flyers. I mean, I've written quite a few songs, and where I would have to go to the state capitol here in Michigan and get those songs copyrighted. Back then, I would have to drive to this, the capitol, and and pay them to have my songs copyrighted. And
nowadays it's online, but it's so expensive.
But you back then, as a musician, as a band, you'd have to do a lot of traveling. I mean, everything was pretty much. You didn't have the technology we have now. We had to do everything the hard way, is what I'm saying. Back then you had bills to pay and everything, and you had to go to work, work 10 hours a day, and then after work you would go to band practice, and then after band practice, and then Friday and Saturdays was your big shows, and you'd have to load up the truck and then get everything set up on stage. And then you wouldn't get out of the bar until 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. And then Monday would come around and you have to be at work at 7. It's just...
Isn't it the same with the YouTube thing though nowadays? You know, it's you have to teach yourself how to do all this stuff.
Well, see,
or you know, whatever your situation is, but
there's a lot of
how to do it all, and that's kind of life. Is that creative life is constant learning.
But I did so you know, AI is allowing musicians to musicians are just like, okay, AI, take over, make a song for me, you know.
I don't know. I know that the technology's there for that, but I heard one the other day where it was an AI created song, and it was just so weird. There was
very
no
artificial.
soul. There was
right.
no soul in it, you know.
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem we're going to have going forward is going to be, you know, like them wanting to reproduce a star that was like Bruce Springsteen and put him at 30 years old up on the stage over and over and over again.
Oh, the holograms.
My audio? Okay.
Oh, you mean the holograms? They already have Michael Jackson, Prince as holograms, but you can put them on stage.
Definitely. Yeah,
Can you
he's
hear
saying
me?
my audio is having problems.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Not sure what's wrong with it. He was just telling me I'm having a problem with it. Does that sound any better?
You just got low. That's all. It just got
Okay.
compared to what you were earlier. It's like
maybe
half the volume.
Okay.
Yeah,
how's that?
you're a little lower than your husband
lower?
is.
Okay.
Than what you were earlier, even.
Really? All right. Let me fix it.
So I don't know what happened to the volume.
Yeah, I don't know. But you made me.
You're low.
Am I real low?
Yes.
All right. Let's work
Ma'am.
on this and see if I can get it working. All right. How does that sound?
Hey, better.
All right. Is that too loud?
A little bit better. I'll just
A little bit better?
That's super loud, but at least we can hear you now.
Okay. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. How's that? Super loud still?
That's pretty good.
That's
pretty
good.
Is that good?
Good.
All right. But let me go. I'm going to shift gears. You reminded me of a story I read the other day, Beat. It was about Jimi Hendrix and Eric Clapton. So Jimi Hendrix had been trying to get into the scene, and he had gone into a kind of a band, battle of the bands kind of thing. But he showed up one day where Eric Clapton was playing, and this was before they made it. So they were both, you know, still hitting bad stages. And so he gets up, one of the guys recognized him and said, "Come on up and jam with us." Eric Clapton had never heard Jimi Hendrix before, had never seen the guy before. So he gets up and just starts shredding. From what I understand from this article, they were saying that Clapton basically just went into a funk after that. He was like, "What the hell am I doing?" You know, this guy is just shredding all over the place. How am I going to keep up with this? And then over the course of the next year, hitting the same areas over and over again, they ended up being best friends until Jimi Hendrix passed away. And then Clapton went back into one of his big depressions that, you know, he's been known for. But I just thought that interview that I heard him talking about that was just so amazing. It was very, if you get a chance, look that up. If you haven't heard that story, it was a really good story.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just say back then when I was playing, the two number one bands in Detroit, people would ask, who's the biggest band in Detroit? And they would say Seduce and Halloween. So you can look up Detroit local bands, Seduce, my friends Seduce and Halloween. They were the two biggest bands in Detroit, period.
Wow. Now, what was your band name?
Pandora.
Okay. Very nice.
That's interesting because there was a band
We had to change our
UK
name
called Pandora as well.
Yeah, we had speaking of copyright and stuff, we had that band I was working with, we had to change our name because there was a all-girl band, an all-girl rock band called the Pandoras in California. And so the Pandoras came looking for us and said, hey, you can't have our name. So we had to change our name right away because the Pandoras were after us. So
And there was a
Can't miss
band as
off
well,
girl band.
and there was an all-girl band in the UK also called Pandora. I'm having several of the 45s now. If you don't know their story real fast, if you're familiar with Meatloaf and Steinman, so Steinman,
The writer.
he wrote a lot of Meatloaf material, not all. Meatloaf has had some albums out that didn't Steinman wasn't in at all, but most of Meatloaf's songs are written by Jim Steinman. But Jim Steinman had this song I really liked called what was that? A girl ended up singing it. Anyways, you know what? I'm gonna keep talking about. I'm gonna look it up here. I'm gonna minimize the screen. But anyways,
Are you talking about the girl that played on that sitcom?
No, I'm talking about.
Okay.
Let me bring up the song real fast. Name. Actually, let me go to Pandora. Yeah, it's all coming back to me now.
Okay.
It's all coming back to me now. And Meatloaf wanted to actually sing that song, and Jim Steinman wouldn't let him, saying, "I don't think a man should be playing this song." So Jim Steinman actually got these girls together. I thought they were in the UK. It might have been in California, but their 45s that I have are from the UK. Actually created this all-girl band just to record this song. It's all coming back to me now. They actually recorded several Jim Steinman songs, including "Good Girls Go to Heaven" and "Bad Girls Go Anywhere."
Go everywhere.
That Meatloaf ended up recording on his "Bad Out of Hell 2" album. But Jim Steinman would not let Meatloaf record this song because he felt that a female artist, and eventually. Who was the female artist that ended up recording it and became a big hit? It's all coming back to me now. Who was that girl?
Yeah, that Celine Dion. Was it Celine Dion?
Yes, Celine Dion. So Celine Dion actually ended up recording it, but Meatloaf kept asking, I wanted to do this song, but it was originally put out by Pandora. And which is a band that was actually put together by Jim Steinman, just for this song.
I wonder how all of that shook out with the names. Beat.
So I had to come up with a new name for the band. So we went from Pandora. Like I came up with the title for your husband's show today. That was my idea. Running Paranoid. So.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
It only took me like 3 minutes to think of a title, but so we had to change our name. So I came up with the Boulevard Dogs. So we went from Pandora to called the Boulevard Dogs, and we ended up playing a few more gigs out there, and then we all decided to quit because my drummer, he already had 3 little kids and a wife, and she needed him to stop playing and be a family. So eventually we became the Boulevard Dogs, and I came up with that. I'm pretty good at coming up with names for bands and titles for things. And, back when I was younger in school, I took poetry class, and I took men's glee club. I was in men's glee. I was baritone. I took many art classes, drafting classes, printing classes.
And just a creative people. That's what we do. We constantly learn, and we constantly get involved in something else that we enjoy, that gives us that outlet. That's the great thing about this is you can teach yourself, especially the younger people, but I want to really stress this to people that are our age. It's not too late to figure this out. It is easy. It's not that much to this. You can learn how to get online and how to do different things and create things of your own.
Like my channel.
Fun. Yeah, it's a blast.
Well, you know, like Beat After Beat. Beat After Beat was designed as a bar. Beat After Beat is a bar and a record store all in one.
Hmm.
I
There
pour
you go.
drinks. I pour drinks on my show. I feed you guys. I give you new
There
arrivals
you go.
in my creative playlist. You know, I'm
Awesome.
always
Well, while we're getting to that part, Beat After Beat is the name of your channel, right? So that's how they find you here on YouTube. Is that
Beat
correct?
After Beat. I go live
Yep.
today at 5 o'clock for new releases.
Awesome. There you go,
Yeah.
guys.
So
Yeah, I'll
Be
try
sure
to
and
be.
check that
I'll try to
out.
be there too. So
yeah, so that's my artistic ability. I mean, I may not be playing out in the bars anymore, or anything, but I know how to run systems on the computer. I know how to do thumbnails. I know how to do
Yeah.
visual and audio stuff, and I put it
we
all
are
into my
never
channel.
Yep, and we are never too old to learn all this stuff, guys. It is, and with the help of online, you can teach yourself how to do everything. You can start your own little business even out of this.
Mhm.
You know, it's
Yep.
it's a good hobby, but it can, you know, if you're good and if it gets traction, it can become more.
Oh, by the way, I was wrong. By the way, the name of the band was called Pandora's Box, not Pandora.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you
it's
go.
also
There you
Aerosmith. That's also an Aerosmith.
Yeah, Aerosmith.
So,
Awesome.
Well,
songs.
I think we're going to go
All
ahead
right,
and start wrapping this up. It's been an hour, 15 minutes. I think that's,
Yeah.
quite a while. But I want to thank Beat After Beat for being here. I want to thank Mrs. Bozz for being here and her bright self as usual. And if anybody has any more information about this 45 that I showcased earlier in the show, I really appreciate it. But I just wanted to show it and talk about it because I've always been fascinated by it. So, but I do want to thank everybody.
thanks for
And
having
we're
well.
going
me.
to go ahead. Oh, of
All right,
course,
guys.
Beat After Beat.
It's
Any
been an
final
honor.
words, Beat? I don't want to. Anything else you want to say, Beat? I don't want to cut you off here, but if you have any last comments or anything.
Well, it's been an honor to be up here on the panel. You are the first. It tells me that I'm moving up in the world because
There you go.
I have my first music channel. You know, wow, what an honor!
Yeah.
To be up
And it
here.
was great having you here and having your input.
I've made it.
Hey,
know-
it's life. We're enjoying
Yeah.
life.
And somebody who had been inside a recording studio before, I haven't.
Very cool.
I've seen a lot of videos of recording studios, and I know a lot what goes on. But I wanted to get input from somebody who actually had been there.
But yeah,
So-
so what I'm hearing when you're playing "Running with the Devil," you know, I'm hearing David Lee Roth singing. He's in the studio by himself. He's in a room by himself, and
Right.
he's listening out of one ear.
Headphones.
He's
Headphones.
listening to the other sounds, and he's
Right.
singing. He can still hear what's going on with the rest of the band, but he's by
Right.
himself.
And I do think that was the actual take used in the actual song because of all the inflections were identical. So
Yeah.
do you have that same feeling?
Yes, and
Okay.
that 45 definitely has a history behind it. Every album's got a story.
Oh, definitely.
Everything's got a story. But I go live tonight, 5
Yep.
p.m. Eastern. New
Check out Beat
releases.
After Beat tonight. So
Gonna be laying down the new releases under the pop rock electronic section as always, and I will be pouring drinks as always and feeding you guys tacos because it is Taco Tuesday.
there we go.
There you
Taco
go.
Tuesday.
So
Sounds good to me. All right, yeah.
I'm all in one.
Okay, everybody. So I'm gonna say
Sounds good.
I'm gonna go ahead and
Thanks for
log off.
sharing.
And again, I appreciate you both being here. And for those watching after the broadcast is over, I'll see you all next time.
Take care. Much love.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.